daughter getting married. Frank, $30,000. That's the last thing I need to do, pay for him beach trip. He's like, well, it's daylight and $1 short now. What am I gonna do? Yeah, Chris's ex-wife, she took a credit card when they were married at the time and we racked up thousands on it. And at that time, I had a card in my name and I went to, it was Wells Fargo or South Trust then. And they basically wouldn't let me do anything about it because she was my daughter-in-law. Family. What do you do? But they were, at that time, she had come to live with me. That was in September of 2007. And he stayed in Maine to sell their condo and that kind of stuff. And she came, my brother got sick. Had to have unexpected open heart surgery. I was in North Alabama. I had left a card for Amanda to use. She took it from Amanda and went racked up just thousands of dollars on it within a couple of weeks' time.
The lieutenant has asked me to step out real quick, but you can feel free to continue talking.
So then I want to step off Jerry's ground.
And ma'am, I know we haven't gotten, we've talked very briefly a couple of times. And just so you know, I am sincerely sorry for you and your family's loss.
I don't even know what to think. I mean, this is beyond comprehension. I mean, did he play with fire all the time? Yes. I could write my head around that. You know, I could.
Mm-hmm.
This I can't. I cannot wrap my head around this.
It's, because he did definitely make fires.
Oh, yeah.
He made big fires and he didn't do them terribly well.
No. And then, like I said, he set my house on fire.
How long, I'd heard that. How long ago was that?
It was the end of August 2 years ago. It was right after Emily got married in July.
Okay. Did he just have it too close to the house?
It was in his office.
How was he burning it in his office?
The whole house system went off, and I was upstairs, and all the lights started flashing. It was like, everything buzzing and doing, and of course I immediately started looking, for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Scott. He was at the barn. I mean, I was minutes from leaving with a friend, and I called him. Scott saw it coming out of his office door, so he took the RTV and circled the house, and he pulled down to Gary's office door. We immediately started pulling hoses. I dialed 911. We got, fire department came, and we got the garbage can out. Thought we had it. I mean, it was in a garbage can.
Thought it was contained.
Thought it was contained. Well, then all of a sudden, everything started going off again. It had gotten into we didn't realize it had gotten into the wall and started going up the wall and down the rafters, in between the two floors. And of course, Scott, was putting water on it, and then the fire department got there and they started knocking. They went upstairs and started knocking holes in the walls, to get it down below. But it got, I guess the really expensive thing was it got into the whole house smart system thing. Of course, all the electronics in the theater
went kaput.
Yeah, it got into.
Did y'all ever try to get that fixed or anything, or
Oh,
it
yeah.
was just too much damage to fix it?
Well, it got into the wiring, and it, like in the basement, there is a thing in the ceiling, like a grate right there, and they had to cut into those wires, because that's where it got to, and they thought they had it fixed, and it's never worked right since. So we just, it's just got put on, at that point in time, there's no telling how much insurance it paid at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, it's significant when you got fire damage and water damage
Right.
or anything
And
like
then
that.
at what point in time do you just stop and
Yeah.
go, I can turn the light switch on and not do that?
So, what kind of, like when he would make the fires, how would he deal with them? Like, would he just like light it on fire and step back and watch? Would he keep throwing stuff on them?
Oh, he just keeps throwing stuff on them. I mean,
Does he just kind of walk around and piddle around? Because like when I make a fire, I just kind of make it and then I just kind of walk around and grab stuff and throw it on it, things like that.
Yeah, but this was it was way taller than you. I mean, it was a massive burn pile, and it had like fencing, and so we had that creosote stuff on it.
Mhm.
There was poles and stuff that he gathered up that was his barn. There was, when we did the fire pit area down at the bottom, we had a mini excavator there at the house, and so Scott had pulled a bunch of tree stumps where all that land was cleared.
Mhm. How long ago did y'all clear it?
Right after we first moved in, but some
Is
of
that
the trees.
3 years ago?
Maybe 5 years.
Oh,
since
5.
November.
Okay.
Some of the trees were just cut even with the ground
Mhm.
and just left. So Scott pulled up some stumps, but they were on like the back side of what I consider the back side of the house
Mhm.
over there. And he had pulled those up, so those were on there. I mean, big, with all that. I mean, there was months worth of just stuff that got thrown on there. I mean,
When was the last time you had a fire before this one?
I have no idea. It's been a long. I mean, months.
See, is okay.
So, I mean, we've got large amounts of,
So I'll share some information.
When I'm a very much of almost a practical person. Well, he was not, especially with fires. It sounds like I am. I look at the practicality of things. I use I apply common sense.
Right.
I'm a people person. I talk to people. It's what I do, and human behavior tends to follow certain general trends, if you will, and some things make sense and don't make sense sometimes. Things like that, that's what I do. So, I was hoping to just kind of walk through a little bit more on after I know Chris came over, brought Addison. Do y'all call her Addie or Addison?
Addison.
Okay. She doesn't shorten it or anything.
She does, but she doesn't like it to be short.
Understandable. I have a cousin that's the same way. So when they came over, about what time was that?
I honestly don't know. I mean, especially at this point. I'm thinking 5-ish, but I don't know. The only thing that I
when they
thought
left,
about that was,
when they left, did anybody else come over?
I didn't know. I don't think so.
Did you see anyone? Did you hear a car?
I don't know.
Did you
I
hear a
do not
noise?
remember.
Because here's the thing. You were at home.
Right,
You were the only person that was at home with your husband.
right.
There is evidence we have found in the house that indicates that you would have heard something. There is almost no way in the world that you wouldn't have. And I'm not accusing you of doing anything, but hearing something is, please don't misunderstand.
Okay.
So
Well, let me explain to you this.
So
See, we had 2 horses, well, actually 3 horses that got out that night.
yeah, I talked to Scott about that.
I had got Rebel in, the older horse, put him in the pasture, like what we call the front, the pasture at the barn, and put him up. And then I came back in to check on the dogs and whatever. Well, I didn't realize that I had 2, Chester and Bluebell, the 2 horses out. I tapped the RTV, took it up to the front entrance, locked the gate, but one of them was out on the road. So I got that gate locked. I went back and got a lead rope.
What time was all of this?
It was dark when I was
Was it
down there.
before you had talked to Scott about the fire?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Because I didn't talk to him about the fire until, well, he called me or I called him one, I don't know, when he was coming in the property. And
He saw the fire.
Yeah, he saw the fire, yeah.
And you were still awake.
Yeah, 'Cause, I mean,
Where were
like
you when you got that phone call?
In my kitchen, because I could see him pulling in the driveway.
Okay. And you knew the fire was still going out back.
Yeah.
And you are probably have the same concern that I do. If there's a fire still burning at night, you're going to go peek at it every so
Yeah.
often.
But
What
I
was-
had seen it by that time, and it was,
How many times did you go and check on it? Not like, I'm not saying go down to it, I'm saying go and look at it, because you're probably like me, because your house has been caught on fire. Mine hasn't, but I'm still paranoid. And I go and I look at a fire, even if it's just coals and cinders, I still go and make sure one's not sparked off somewhere.
right. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, of course, I was out.
But you would say you went and looked at it at least a few times for sure.
Well, but I was out on the property, though.
Out and about.
Out and about.
For about how long?
It took me a good while to catch Bluebell when she's in there.
Mhm.
And it took me a good while to get her caught up. And of course, after I've gotten kicked, I'm very careful about, being around her and that kind of stuff. So I wasn't one for just, okay, let's be careful with this because you're out and nobody knows you're out here.
Of course.
You know.
You got animals and you got,
I've got animals,
it's just,
I've got-
of course.
Yeah. And
So,
then I've got,
but you got all of them put up before 11:30
yes.
because that's when you talked to Scott.
That's when, I think I talked to Scott.
And how many times, I'm sure you checked on the fire a few times.
It's
It's right outside your bedroom.
Right, it
It's
is.
right outside the patio.
And I did. All I did was just open that door and saw that the woods were not on fire. That's all I did.
Open which door?
The bedroom door, the one that goes outside.
Your bedroom, the one that goes around on the little patio right there, because you can see the fire perfectly well.
Right. So
Did you
all
see
I
any-
did was just open the,
Did you ever notice the fire going out
no.
and then catching back up on
Well,
fire?
it maintained just a burn. It maintained a flame, kind of like it did when Scott pulled in and saw it. And, but that would, I talked to him. I tried to get up.
Did
with
you
him.
talk to anybody else that night other than Scott? After Chris left, did you talk to anybody else?
I don't.
And I'm gonna ask you something. It's a very direct question, and I apologize in advance for asking it. But when I say that we do an exceedingly thorough investigation, I'm really not in any way, shape, or form exaggerating. And we look at anything, everything. So I'm going to ask a question, and I apologize in advance for asking it. But given the nature of this circumstance, I think you'll realize I have no choice but to ask it. You and your husband do not have the best relationship. I understand all of these. Y'all were not very close. Y'all haven't slept in the same bedroom for a while. He's got a CPAP machine, practicalities. I know he was sleeping in bed and rolled over and he would kind of flail a little bit. A boyfriend. Any boyfriend at all. When was the last time you had one?
I won't call him a boyfriend, but it was my sister-in-law's boyfriend at the time.
Mhm.
But we were all.
How long ago? Ted?
That's been 2 years.
Ted?
Yeah.
Wiley? Is that his last name? Where does he live? Florence?
Alabama.
Okay. When was the last time you saw him or talked to him?
He called about my mother-in-law.
How long was that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
He's been, quote, in the family for 20 years, And one day she's in memory care.
When was the last time
facility.
you had any sort of a relationship with him? How many years ago?
Years. Ago, 10 years ago.
And,
But it was not physical.
okay. So when was the last time you had a physical relationship with somebody? Your husband or anyone?
Oh, Gary?
Mhm.
It's probably been 4 years ago.
Okay. So when was the last time you had a sexual interaction with anyone else? Okay, when we test the DNA on the diaphragms we found in your purse, whose DNA is going to be on it?
Diaphragm?
That's what I was told was found in there.
There was no diaphragm in my purse. No,
What are
there
the
was-
circular discs? About that big, round, one open, one closed, in your purse.
Well, they're not used for a diaphragm. It's used for a menstrual cycle.
And you have a doctor's prescription, somebody that we can go talk to. I'm assuming those are
Oh, you
prescribed,
over the counter.
and somebody will use them for that.
Yeah.
And so there will not be anyone else's DNA on them at all. And I'm sorry for, I apologize. Like I said, I'm apologizing in
Now, I
advance
will
for asking
tell
these.
you that there
but-
is a diaphragm in my truck, in the very back of it, and it belongs to a friend of mine that she asked me to keep it for her.
is it, okay, we are going to test it for DNA.
Okay.
Is it going to have your DNA on it?
No. I mean, I've touched it.
What's the
but
friend?
Sherry Cooper.
Sherry Cooper. I'll just jot that down. So said Sherry.
Uh-huh. She was going through a divorce at the time. And
How long have you had it?
Oh.
Is she the same one that moved away a year ago? Is she whose phone you had?
Well,
Or is that a different Sherry?
no, same.
Same one? Okay. Where does Sherry live now?
I don't know where she is. right
Why are you holding on for a diaphragm for her?
It got stuck in the back. I mean, she had asked me to keep that. She asked me to keep some plaques that she had, some cards.
Because we can tell what's like DNA from your hand and what's like would be
Right.
vaginal DNA or,
Right.
you know.
No, that's hers.
well, I mean, there's signatures that we could tell that would
Right.
make it different.
Right.
And so that would.
That's hers.
Why do you have it and why did you still have it?
Well-
and how long ago did you get it?
Oh, I've had it a while. Let's see, Emily got married 2 years ago. And she was going through her divorce then. And she did, she had a boyfriend. And I kept that, I kept several plaques that she had made.
And these are in the back of your SUV.
No, all that I still have left is that and maybe some cards, but I have no idea. That's what
Okay.
a friend had given her.
So what was her boyfriend's name? Is her phone number still on your phone that we could call her? So that diaphragm is hers, and the ones in your purse, we're not going to find any male DNA on in any way, shape, or
No,
form.
I mean, they're used for menstrual cycle. That's all that they're used for. It's not,
And you have not had a sexual relationship with anybody in 4 years. We're not going to find any evidence of it. When we test your bed sheets, we're not going to find any male DNA in any way, shape, or form. When we test your vehicle, and we swap the seats, and we swap the back seat, is there any male ever been in your car?
my kids.
Okay. Other than them. That's easy to
I
eliminate.
mean, Gary,
What about Roy? Last name begins Bart.
Barton.
Who's Roy?
Well, Roy is my cousin's dead husband.
How long ago did he pass away?
4 years ago.
Why do you still have his credit card in your purse?
Martha Jane had given me just to have as a,
You know, keep in mind,
right,
all I saw was a credit card with the name on it. I have no idea who Roy is.
Yeah.
It's just odd, obviously, not the same last
well,
name.
she had given me that quite some time ago. I had been taking care of her. She had open heart surgery back, 4 years ago, I guess. 3 or 4 years ago. And so it just got put, I didn't realize I still had it.
Okay, so you're not using it. So when we look at the financial records, that hasn't been used
No.
in over 4 years.
No. I mean,
And it's going to come back to somebody that's deceased.
Right.
And whose husband is that?
My cousin,
Cousin, what's her name?
Martha Barton.
Martha Barton. And Roy is her husband. Did he pass away of cancer, heart disease, or that's a tough one. So that's a hard thing. How old was he?
80s.
I'm so sorry.
But, yeah,
It-
I mean, that's when, during that time, she had given me a credit card to use for, just to have for medicine and that kind of stuff. I mean, like I said, she had open heart surgery in Nashville,
Mhm.
and, I was, up there taking care of her. Her husband had a stroke at the time. He was in an assisted living, and not assisted living, but a nursing home rehab facility. And so I had, that's when I was given cards of hers, and,
Okay.
all that kind of stuff.
And you just had it you just forgot it was in there.
Yeah, I mean,
And I keep hearing about it, the cell phone.
the only cell phone I had was that.
What about the other one you had?
It was one that Sherry Cooper had. She had 2 phones, and that was when Gary was, cutting off phones and,
So you were using it how long ago?
that was when she took me to go see an attorney about Gary cutting off credit cards and doing that kind of stuff. And she said, look, your name's not on anything. I'm going through a divorce. I know how bad it's going to be.
Okay, so did it have a number associated with it? So she gave you a phone that you could use.
Yeah. I
So
had no idea what that number was.
Did it only have one number?
I know, but it was
Did she
straight.
pay for it or did you pay for it?
No, it was just a straight talk card. I mean, I just bought the card at Walmart. She loaded it, I mean, you know, we just loaded it on there.
Okay, so if we got back in touch with her, we could figure out what the phone number is, right? And you're saying that there would be no call activity associated with you or your residence or anything in a year?
I mean, I did, I used it for a while.
But that was a year ago.
The attorney that I went and talked to said, look, you need, especially to talk to him,
Mhm.
or, you know, any of that kind of stuff to use that so that Gary could trace it.
Okay. Did you talk to, and that's reasonable that we can backtrack all of that, because they keep records for like 2 or 3 years. It's
Right.
ridiculous. So do you have any idea what the number is?
No. I mean, that's-
Would you use it to talk to your children? Because
No.
obviously your phone was cut
No.
off. Do you see how that seems strange to me?
Well,
right?
I mean, he would turn it off.
Okay, so
but
he
then
would
would
turn-
immediately turn it back on.
But
I mean, it was like,
it was to the point where you got a phone and you used the phone. So if you didn't talk to your kids, who'd you talk to?
well, I mean, it would be, you know, to get it with Sherry. I mean, you know, because I was at home. I mean, he would only turn it off for a very short period of time. It would be like a day. Okay, Gary, turn the phone back on.
People saw that
Okay.
phone, you using it for a while.
I don't know what they're talking about, having a separate phone.
That's exactly, I mean, that's the one. It sounds like what it looked like. What kind of case was it in?
It was just, I mean, kind of like the one that you're carrying.
What color was it? Okay, tell me about the gray one with blue trim.
The what?
Gray phone, the blue, like blue surrounding
Oh,
it.
no, I don't know about that.
And they said they saw you with it
And
within the past.
and they asked you about it, and you said it was Sherry's a while back, but then they kept seeing you with it. And obviously Sherry moved away, so that's. I mean, if she gave you a phone to use, and this is what I'm getting at.